I'm gonna repeat this real quick. I didn't start recording. So I'm gonna spend about 30 or 40 minutes talking about some logistical things about paperwork and next steps for LPCs and LMFTs. And then I'm also gonna spend a little bit of time talking about like what to expect in terms of like transcripts and grades and things like that. And then I do about a 30 or 40 minute kind of end of class activity. But I realize that some folks have to jump off, and that's fine. If you have to go because you got other things going on, or if you got work, or don't hesitate to jump off. I'm recording all this. You can watch it later as well. And the semester's not over. This is just our last Zoom class, so we can you can always send questions. Um, so I'm going to do my best to uh, answer all the questions, especially about the logistics type stuff. I'm going to do my best to do that. And so, um, if you have questions, you can absolutely ask as we're going through. I'll stop as we go to and answer questions. And so, let me answer a couple of these. And Hannah asked one that I think is very important. You get 40 hours for this class. You get 40 hours for practicum one. You include both of those in your hours. So when you turn in the hours report to me, I need all 300 hours included. So that's your direct client hours and your indirect hours. I want every single hour you've ever done turned into me. So it's from both practicums. If you will add those up for me, that's even better. That would be a tremendous help to me. Um, what I traditionally do is I request those the Saturday before graduation, which would be a week from today. I also know that some folks might be gathering hours up until the very end. I get that, and that's fine. The drop dead date for getting hours into me is May 22nd because that's when the semester ends. And so if you want to wait till May 22nd, you can do that. That's fine. Um, you'll put all of these things on Moodle. There's a spot on Moodle to upload your hours report into. There's a spot on Moodle to upload your evaluation, your self evaluation, and there's a spot on Moodle to upload your supervisor evaluation. If you have two sites, the supervisor evaluation that we usually request is the one where you've spent the most time, like where you've been there, if you've been there the most. If you've been there equally, just one supervision evaluation is fine. You don't have to do all of them. Typically, people maybe have two sites, but maybe have gotten more hours at one than the other. But if that's not the case, just one eval is fine. If by chance, sometimes this happens, your supervisor's on vacation or gone somewhere, I'll just let me know that as soon as you can, because we can also use. There's a couple other things we can do if we need to. So, having said that, let me recap. You're going to put all your hours you've done, including the 80 hours you get from both classes, Practicum 1 and Practicum 2, on your hours log. You're going to sum up all your hours from the moment you started until you finished. You're going to turn that into me, and that should be the 300 total. So let me speak to the LPC folks specifically. Um, that those hours that you turn into me that add up to 300, that's the same number of hours that you'll put on your state practicum form, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. So that's the reason why it's just good to add them up is because it just kind of helps you too down the road. If you're an LMFT student, you know you have another practicum to go. So you're going to keep gathering hours in the next practicum. You can include and you do include all the hours from when you started to finish, including the time between sessions. So anytime you've gotten hours, any hours you've gotten while you've been a student at Amberton, you can count. Okay. Um, that includes if you're an LMFT student, this next break that you have, the next week, 2 weeks or so, you include those hours on your next as you continue moving forward. Okay. So when you turn it all into me, It should be at least 300. Some people have more, and that's fine. If you think you're going to be close and you're kind of nail biting it till the end and you're going to need until this 22nd, that's fine. Um, uh, you can turn those in on that Thursday, that's fine. After those hours are turned into me, and when I look at them, I usually don't look at them until that Friday after, typically. And that's when I'll look at the reflection paper. And Teresa asked a good question about the reflection paper. It's literally just follow whatever prompts I gave you for the paper. It's one page. It's just about your practicum experience. It's not brain surgery. Everyone gets an A. I'm sorry, but everybody's gonna. This is not like some research paper. I like doing reflection work because I like for us to process things that we're doing. That's why I give that assignment. So it's not really meant to be hard or anything. And some people write more than a page too, and that's fine. That's fine. Just a page is fine too. Double spaced, just reflection on your practicum. That's all I'm asking for that. And I will look at all of those at the end of the semester as well. And so,
Not double
um,
space. Not okay.
yeah, I don't it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. You can double space, triple space, single space, half space, quadruple space. I mean, just write the paper. This will be the easiest thing you're ever going to do. Just all you got to do is write it. And um, I think it's important for us to take time to reflect on what we've done from time to time. It just helps us kind of synthesize things. So, okay, I got a couple questions in the chat. Yeah. So, um, cumulative hours from both practicum 1 and practicum 2 on the hours report that you turn into me. You've already done one supervisor evaluation and one self-evaluation for practicum 1. You know the exact same thing for me. It's two separate assignments, right? You can do another self-evaluation for me and another supervisor evaluation for me as well. Two separate things. So don't turn in the ones you turned in for practicum 1 because that was for practicum 1. This is for practicum 2. Does that make sense?
I do have a clarification question, and I
Hmm.
don't know if I haven't had enough coffee yet or what, but
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. And I like your red glasses too, by the way.
oh, thank you. When we give you those hours, like um, we've already listed them
Hmm.
before. Do we just make a copy of that and add it to the new out
Hmm.
listed hours?
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's fine. Yeah, the way is just make it easier for you. Yeah, that's fine. Uh, just make sure I get all of them. The reason why I say that is because if you only send me what you've done for this practicum, it might not add up to 300, right? So then technically you have to have 300 to pass, right? To pass the class. So I don't want to get into a situation where it's May 22nd and you've turned in half your hours to me and then you fail. Like I can't get a hold of, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why we want to turn all the hours in. Let me say that 4 times. We're going to turn all the hours in that you've done since you began practicum, right? So practicum 1 and 2 all together. We're going to turn them all in, right? And they should add up to 300 and sometimes more. A lot of people have more. Yeah. Yeah. Korean, go ahead. If you have, yeah, just jump in.
If we know that we're going to be doing hours that last week, um, and our supervisor, I get it all into the log and I have them sign it, would you prefer to have that paperwork even slightly in advance, or do you want me to wait until I've done that last day to turn it in?
I have some people's now.
And they still are doing more hours that are already on that log?
Sure.
Okay. You
If you
don't
want to
care.
keep, because some people are going to do extended
So
practicum, which I'm going to
those
talk
hours
about.
will get me to the 300.
Yeah,
Those hours on
whatever. Then you won't turn it in yet, right? You'll turn it in on the 22nd.
That's what I was asking. Did you, if you don't want it in advance, like I know I'm scheduled to do those. You want it on the
No.
last day.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. if you would ask your question, that would be awesome.
My question was, you said something about practicum 3 and taking that as an LPC student to basically hold the spot until our license paperwork comes through so that we can still see people.
It's
And I
extended.
wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to do anything with regard to graduation. So I asked the advisor what I was supposed to do as far as payment and all of that kind of stuff. And they said, oh, you can't take that. That's just for LMFT. And I
Correct.
said, oh, so what are we supposed to do? So are
Yeah.
we supposed to take that or not supposed to take that?
So you take extended practicum. Only LMFT students take practicum 3.
Okay. Is it listed as a different class?
Correct.
Or is it? Oh,
Called
it is?
It's 6865 extended practicum.
6865.
Correct.
Okay.
And you can't register for it until you graduated.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was kind of going to be my next
Oh,
thing I
okay.
was going to
I
talk
just
about, which
wanted
is
to-
fine. No, you're
I
fine.
just wanted to check.
No, you're fine. You're
Mhm.
fine. Yeah, Hannah, you can, just as a logistical thing, if you're an LMFT student, you need to add columns for, relational hours, right? So if you have a family or a couple, you'll have an individual column, maybe a group column, and then a relational column. You'll need to do that yourself as you keep track. Just FYI. And you'll do that as an LMFT person. You're also keep track that way when you working on your license as well. So you'll definitely need to keep track of the relationship hours. Okay. Any questions about what you're turning into me?
Yes, one final question. The dates for the practicum, do we put the date that we started the first practicum as the first one, or do we just start it from the date we started second practicum onto this week's form?
I don't think I understand. I'm sorry.
So if we're putting our cumulative hours on the evaluation form, do we also just put like the cumulative dates that we've been in practicum since the beginning of practicum 1?
Are you talking about the evaluation or are you talking
Yes.
about the hours report?
The evaluation.
Yeah, you just the evaluation is just for practicum 2.
Okay, so on the evaluation, then we are not putting the cumulative hours. We're just putting the ones that we've turned in since the last form.
That's right.
Okay, got it.
That's right. Yeah, it's just for practicum 2. We have to have 2 separate ones, and that's just a requirement of the class. Yeah. Any other questions about things you're turning in? Okay. Let me talk about extended practicum. Extended practicum is for students that want to keep seeing clients, for LPC students that want to keep seeing clients while you wait for your associate license. If you don't want to see clients and you're done seeing clients and you don't care if you see clients while you wait, you don't have to take extended practicum. It's not a requirement. If you're going to continue seeing clients while you wait for your associate license, then you will need to take extended practicum because that gives you an umbrella protection because technically you're practicing under Amberton's umbrella while you're waiting, basically. If you don't take extended practicum and you continue to see clients, you're not under any umbrella, and that would not be good for you. That would be a bad thing to do. We've had students do that before. The board always finds out, and then that makes it hard for you to get your license if you do that. If you don't care about seeing clients, because some people do stop seeing clients at the end of this semester and just take a break and wait until they get their associate license, then pick back up. You can do that. I also realize that some people probably already have sites where they're going to start gathering their hours. And so that's why you might take the extended practicum so that you can go ahead and start at that site. Now, here's the thing. No matter what you do, You're not gathering any hours for your associate until you have your associate license. For example, let's say that you're going to take extended practicum because you know where you're going to be. You've already been hired by your site, and that's where you're going to gather your hours. That's awesome. That's fine. You start May 23rd, but you don't get your associate license until June 2nd. You don't count any of those hours towards your associate in the meantime between those 2 weeks, okay? You start gathering and counting your associate hours the day that you become an associate. So if that's June 2nd, June 2nd is when you start counting towards your associate license. Most of the time well, I'm going to go over something in a second that'll make it a little more clear. Does that make sense what I'm saying? But the reason is because you're going from academic work to state licensure work. Totally different. You're making a transition to working with whatever the state requirements are. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Hopefully. The reason why we started the extended practicum originally, this was years ago, is because you couldn't take the exam until you graduated. And so people would take the extended practicum to keep seeing clients while they took the exam and waited. Well, after COVID, then people can take the exam way before that. You can take it and pass the exam. But then we found that students wanted to keep seeing clients anyway because they were waiting on their associate license, which takes, between 2 and 4 weeks to get. It's been much quicker recently in the last few months, actually, which is good. So we've kept the extended practicum. If you're an LMFT student, you do not take the extended practicum right now. You take practicum 3. If you're an LPC student, you never take practicum 3 unless you're going to get your LMFT licensure, which you have to take classes for anyway. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I'm sure someone's got a question because I know it gets confusing at the end. I know it does. I've been doing this a long time. I know it gets confusing just because it's just it's like different thing. You're transitioning to like a different thing. It's like learning a different language. So please ask questions about this because I want everyone to understand what's going on. You can drop extended practicum, yes. A lot of students drop it when you get your license. You can drop it. You can drop any class anytime. That's always up to you. You can't sign up for extended practicum until after graduation, but that won't be a problem. You'll be able to sign up for it. That won't be a problem. Any questions about any of that?
I have questions about the application to graduate, though. It's got like 8 different spots where you can click where you're getting the degree. How do you know which one you're clicking on?
I honestly have zero idea what you're asking about. Are you talking about the Amberton information? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm not sure what that looks like, so I don't know. Can anyone else, you can ask the class, like the class can jump in here for you're asking about the form that you fill out for graduation.
Yeah, the form you fill out for graduation. What did you guys put for where I'm getting the degree? Because it has boxes for different years to start, and I don't understand where I'm supposed to put.
Oh, when you go into your portal where you can see like your degree breakdown, like the degree audit, in there it should actually say at the top which catalog you're from. And you may have to actually write the date on there. Like I started like the 2022 catalog. So it's like whichever semester you started, it determines which courses you had to take as part of your degree. And so like that's the catalog you're using.
Okay. Thank you. That helps.
For
Any other?
that,
Yep.
I have one, yeah, based
Yeah.
on like that, and I don't know who asked that question, if you're LMFT or if you're LPC. But for LMFTs who are beginning practicum 3 next session, like when is our application for graduation due? Does anyone know that?
You do that the first couple of weeks that you start the class.
Okay, can we do it early, like
You
in the
do it.
next couple of weeks now?
You can do it anytime.
Okay.
Well, I think you have to wait till you're in the class potentially, but I'm not sure. I mean, all they can do is say wait, but you typically that application is always due within the first 2 weeks of the new session.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And everyone knows that this particular graduation is a walking graduation because it's in the spring. The summer is not, but the fall is, right? So we only have two actual ceremonies. One's in the spring, one's in the fall. You should be able to get your transcripts. Let's see, May 23rd, 4th, 5th. The week of May 26th, which is actually Memorial Days on that Monday. They actually work through the weekend to do the grades. You should be able to get your transcripts sometime that week. It's usually the first part of the week. I don't know when it'll be because of the holiday, but usually it's like a Tuesday or Wednesday. You should be able to get your transcript. Now, why would you need your transcript? Because that's one of the things you need to do your application for your licensure. So before I move to that, does anyone have any other questions about any of the things I'm talking about right now?
I don't have a question, but I did find yesterday or the day before, they actually have a checklist
They do.
on the website of all the things, and that is on there. So
100%. Absolutely. Yep.
I thought it was neat. It was like, print this out.
Yep.
I do
They
have
do.
one quick question. Hi. When I did my evaluation for this second practicum, I put the dates for like the whole thing. I put from December 7th through May 22nd. Do you want me to resubmit the form to change that day, or is that okay to leave it like that?
Have you
I
been
already did everything.
have you been at the same practicum the whole time?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's fine. That's fine.
All
That's
right,
fine.
thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Any other questions about anything we're talking about so far? Monica's getting blasted by the sun right now.
How do they get the transcript from us, the LPC board?
So my understanding, I think they do it electronically now. They used to have to mail it. I think that's what they do. We can find out.
It says electronic transcript should be emailed to.
Yeah. So we have a clearinghouse. Emerson has a clearinghouse that they use. Like I don't think it's I'm not sure what Emerson uses. A lot of schools use a site called Parchment, where they send the actual transcript. The reason I'm a little hesitant because I know that we were in the process of getting this set up. I'm not 100% sure if it is yet, but if you go on the Emerson site and look at like when you request your transcript, it should give you instructions on if you can do that electronically yet or not, but I'm like 90% sure you can. Has anybody looked at that? That's why I'm a little hesitant because I know that's something that we were talking about doing. I just don't know if it's actually happened yet.
When I filled out the application for graduation, right there was I saw only two options. One was to either pick it up at the school, or you could pay an extra $10 and they would mail it to your address on record.
Yes.
I did not see an electronic option. Maybe I missed it, but that's what I saw.
Transcript fee per transcript $5. That's what I'm looking at right here.
Okay, yeah, $5-10, yes, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So
Does that go to us or does that go to the LPC board? I mean, how do they get our transcript?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm not 100% sure because I know we're in the process of, shoot, sorry, I went and did the wrong thing.
There's
Oh,
a transcript request form on the Amberton website, and you put the address that you want it to be mailed to. And then if you go on the BHEC website, it tells you what address the transcripts need to be mailed to or email address, but it does not appear that at this time on the transcript form from Amberton that it allows the email option.
that's right. That's why I was a little hesitant. So if you, this is the form right here, you just fill it out. And then I think there's a place up here that you can either mail it, hold it, or pick up. And I believe this is the area where you'll put like where you're sending it right here. So I mean, literally just kind of follow the request form.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay. All right, let me get rid of this stuff. Any other questions about any of these things?
Yes, on the there's a place where it says National Practitioner Data Bank, NPDB, Self-Inquiry Report. What is that?
I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Does anybody know what that is? I've never even heard of that. Where was it? Where is
It's
that?
it's on the Texas Behavioral Health Executive Council
Right.
where it says apply for a license and then second. It says basic required documentation for LPC associate application.
Are you talking about this
No,
NBCC?
no,
Okay.
no, go down, right below it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. It looks like, yeah, I'm assuming you just kind of follow this.
But what is it?
This might be for your fingerprints.
I did that this week and it's like it's IDing you and then you have to email the certification that you get from it to the email address that they provide there.
Yeah, I think it's just another I think this is probably just another way to make sure that we are who we say we are. That's what it sounds like to me. I've never seen this before, so I honestly don't know.
It's an inquiry that they do to make sure that you don't have any other licenses out there or any complaints against you.
Yeah, I mean it's just a way to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do. I don't even know if this is part of the MFT. Don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's part of the MFT too. Okay. It doesn't look like it's that big of a deal. It's $13. Everything costs money, right? From here on out, everything costs money, like $10, $20, $125, everything's cost money. So so that's just part of the checklist, looks like. Let me go back over here. Hang on a second. Um, So yeah, that's the first time I've seen that, which I don't think. Yeah. Anyway, um, so well, first of all, any other questions about any of the things we talked about so far? Because I'm going to jump to some licensing things here. Okay. This is what Ann was talking about earlier, just the the checklist. It's going to make me open it into. So this is just the LPC checklist um, that you can find on the website. So these are the things that you will complete in order to get your associate license. It's actually pretty easy to follow. They tell you up here too not to contact them within 6 weeks of basically turning it in. They just don't want people calling every day and saying, "Where's my license?" kind of deal. I'll actually show you a place where you can look for it yourself. Um, so you'll do these. These are the things that you'll fill out or get in place. So a lot of the things you do online or you turn in online, and so uh, as you go through this list, you can kind of check them off, and then you'll get some type of confirmation from them when they have everything. And if they don't get something or something gets misplaced or something happens, they'll reach out to you and ask for clarification. And LMFTs have the same checklist. It just looks a little different than this. Um, and you'll be doing yours, at the end of the summer or end of the summer. So this is just a checklist to just kind of, hey, here's all the things I need. And so I want to talk specifically about the actual I want to talk about this form really quick. We've talked about this a couple of times, but it usually it gets more real now as we get kind of towards the end. So as part of the application that you turn in to the state, you will fill this all out, and then you're going to send it to Gina Termenstein, who's in the academic dean's office. And the academic dean for Amerton will actually sign this for you. So this is to tell the state that you completed your practicum work with Amerton. Now, the reason why we sign it and not your supervisor is because some of you might have had 2 sites or maybe 3 sites. Sometimes people have more than 2 sites. And if you've gotten hours at all those sites, instead of getting all of those supervisors to sign it, we sign it because we are responsible for making sure that you complete your actual practicum work. That is up to the school to decide if that's happened. So that's why Amberton signs this form. If you don't fill this form out and send it to Gina, she will not get it signed. She'll just send it right back to you and say, please fill it out. So you'll fill this out and then send it to her. She'll get it signed, and typically she gets it right back to you like really quick, like within minutes a lot of times. She works pretty quick. And so and this is, like I said, this is just part of your application. You can't get this form signed until after you graduate because she has to go in and look and make sure that you've actually completed all the coursework and all the practicum work. And so she'll look your name up, make sure you've cleared everything and all your transcripts are cleared, and then she'll get it signed and send it back to you. So I'll put her name. Hang on a second. I got to get over here. I'll put Gina's name here in the chat as well. Some of you probably have already talked to Gina. But she will be able to hang on a second. Sorry. Trying to navigate a couple of things. So that's who you'll send that form to. Once you fill it out, you'll just send it to her. Let me take a step back. We talked about this for like 30 minutes, one of our classes, but I know that it's for some reason this form is well, one thing is worded really, really weirdly, so it is a little confusing. So let me take a step back and make sure everyone understands like this form that you fill out, you send it to Gina, she gets it signed, she sends it back to you. That's all you have to do. Does that make sense? Please let me know if you have any other questions.
Are we able to do that before graduation date, or does it need to be after?
You have to do it after you get after graduation, because she has to make sure that your transcript is clear before you get this.
But you can fill that out before you take the test.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with your exam. This is just making sure that the state knows you've completed your practicum.
Awesome.
Yeah, the test part and this are separate. The test is another step that you have to take, right, to get your license. This is just another step.
So we need to send this, we can send this in after graduation, after May the 22nd, this form, or do we need to wait until the next week when we get our transcript?
I mean, I would wait till the next week if it was me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That would be the easiest. You just want to make sure that everything's gone through.
I have a question about this form as far as settings, where it says check all appropriate settings.
Mhm.
I worked at a alcohol rehab center. That's not really on there as an option? Do I leave it blank, or do I fill in, add a heading? Do you see what I'm saying under settings?
Well, drug and alcohol abuse, that's what I would check. That's where you worked, right? Is that what you did?
I'm talking about below that where it says settings, private practice, school, hospital, volunteer, university counseling center, or nonprofit organization.
Oh, what? So you worked at like a
I worked
treatment
at
facility?
Sante. Yeah,
Oh,
Sante.
okay. Yeah. I mean, you can write that in if you. Is it Tante nonprofit? I don't know. I don't
No,
remember. Okay.
no.
Okay. Yeah, you can. I don't. They might consider it a hospital, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Would the jail be considered a nonprofit? I'm not really sure where we would put jail from that list.
I don't know. You could just
That's
put.
fair.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. They're not gonna. They're not gonna kick you guys out if you right now where you worked. You know what I mean? I understand trying to get it right for sure. Um, that's what I was saying about. That's why I show people the form, because it's kind of confusing. I don't know. The form's a little. I don't know. I have my own opinions about the form.
Near the top, the course number for practicum internship, is that this Prac 2 number or Prac 1 number or both?
But it'd be both of them because you did.
Okay, thank you.
You did both. This form is on the BHEC website. That's where I got it from. Go back. It's right here. It's the first form.
Thank
Then
you.
the
I
dri-
got stuck in the online loop last
No,
weekend, and then if you don't finish it quickly enough, then it deletes everything you put in. And yeah, so I was trying to do it between clients, then it did not work.
yeah, I don't know. I wish it. Yeah. Listen, I did all mine by mail back in the day, mail and fax. So we're miles ahead of that, which is nice. The jurisprudence exam, that's super, super easy. Like that's a take till you pass exam. You can take that anytime. You just need, and then they give you a certificate at the end of it. That's part of what you turn in. This supervisory agreement form that's whoever your supervisor is going to be, the supervisor that you have while you're gathering your associate hours. So that's a form that you would fill out with your supervisor. Actually, they fill most of it out for you. This NCE score, that should be sent directly from the testing center to the state. We talked about this National Practitioner Data Bank. Jenny, I'm glad you asked about that because I hadn't even seen that before. And then, of course, your transcripts that we talked about. The application's actually all online that you can fill out right here. You do set up an account. The reason why you set up an account is that's the account that you'll have from now until you stop renewing your license, basically. So, like I set mine up back in 2009, I think, and I still have the same. I've changed some stuff, but basically the same information. And then now they have this, the little user's guide. They used to not have this little user's guide if you need just help with whatever thing is going on. So those are the things, that's kind of what you're going to be doing from now on. You're going to be dealing with this website. This is the third iteration of this site. So they tend to change it every couple of years, which is okay. This is actually pretty well organized. You can see on the side over here, there's a thing called license search. You guys still see that? I'm assuming as I'm clicking through, sometimes things don't show up.
Yeah, we still see it.
So here's mine. And then since we are also a clearinghouse for basically anyone that has to get a state license, sometimes other people share a license number. Like this is a technician trainee. I don't even know what that was for, but this is obviously expired back in 2013. So here's my current license. So literally you can go in after you've turned in your paperwork and maybe wait a couple of weeks. You can go in and search and see if you have your license yet. And it'll say on here when it was started, like when it was active, and it'll give you a date. Technically, that's the date at which then you can start counting your hours. They used to give you a card. I don't even think they do that anymore. So you would just go here and you could put your name in, or you won't have a number yet, but they have a couple different ways that you can search it. Any questions about those things?
On the practicum graduate internship documentation, so that is what Gina's gonna sign, yes, not our
Correct.
supervisor? Okay,
That's correct.
thank you.
Yep.
I do have a question. So if I I haven't decided yet on my supervisor because I am not sure quite yet where I'm gonna be working. I'm debating between two different options. So do I need, because in one of the options they would assign me their own supervisor, and in the other option I get to work with this lady that I've been speaking with. So do I need to make up my mind on that before I can submit the application for my license?
Yes, you have to you can't get any, you won't be able to get your associate until all those things are turned in.
Okay, so I have to have already where am I gonna work and who is gonna be my supervisor.
That's, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You guys, do y'all understand like the supervisor, like your relationship with your supervisor, like why that's important?
Yeah, there's just one of the sites. They don't want an outside supervisor. They want me to use their own in-staff person.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Mhm. Thank you.
So that relationship's important because until you have your actual license, your full license, you're practicing under your supervisor's license. So that's why you need that supervisory agreement, because you can't start seeing clients until you have it, because technically you don't have a license to see people. Does that make sense? Like you're practicing under your supervisor's license.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's why that one's kind of important. If it was me, knowing what I know now, if I got free supervision somewhere, that's what I would do, because it gets expensive because you're going every week, you know. Um, but not everybody does that anymore. Sometimes people don't offer that anymore. Any other questions about the licensing? Any of the licensing topics?
Are we able to have more than one supervisor?
I think you can have two.
Perfect,
mean,
because I have two sites and one is, yeah, okay, that makes
I mean,
sense.
you don't have to have two even if you have multiple sites.
I guess that's true. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right. What happens if we or our supervisor are out for a week?
Yeah, he said we do supervision every week, and I did see that too. And then I thought that, do we still do that? Like if somebody goes on vacation, like I mean, like I don't know what the rules are with regard to that. I don't know how that works.
I'm gonna let you guys figure that out, because that's stuff that you just, because everybody goes on vacation. It's
Yeah,
based on hour. It's based on
that's what I was
hours, right?
thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just based on hours, right? So you have to have like X amount of hours of supervision.
Yeah.
You have to meet certain requirements. So sometimes people meet twice in a week, let's say, or you
Yeah,
kind of have to
that's
you kind of have to figure it out
okay.
with your supervisor.
Okay.
And my suggestion about the supervisor search, like I'm in the process of getting my supervision credentials for the first time in 15 years. I should have done this a long time ago. I interview people and they interview me. Like I would interview yours, if you, like I would make sure, do you like their style? Do you think you're going to get along with them? Because you potentially are going to be working with them for, 2 or 3, 4 years. So if you don't like them, or don't like their style, or you can always change supervisors too. You can move. You don't have to stay with the same person, but that kind of helps. That type of stuff helps too. So, you can ask them questions and just kind of feel them out and see how long they've been doing it, how many people they're supervising. That's probably a good question to ask. What's their style of supervision? Because when you become a supervisor, you have to actually take a class, write a paper. You have to keep up CEUs separate from your license. So you have to kind of already have in your mind like the type of supervising style that you're going to use. So they should be able to tell you, hey, here's what I do. You know, some people are super laid back, some people are real not. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But you can ask those questions when you are thinking about supervision. Um, and once you find someone and you kind of get into a rhythm, I think that there's two reasons why the supervision is actually important. The first reason, obviously, for our license, we have to do it. It's a requirement. That's the first thing. The second thing is once you build a rapport with them, they can be really helpful with you, not just with your clients, but just kind of like just answering questions about the field and just talking through, hey, I'm thinking about doing this and get their opinion about it and talk to them about it. That can be actually really helpful too. So there's a couple of reasons why supervision is really, really good. So the other thing I was going to mention about supervision, I don't think I said this last time, is you can have up to two people that counts as individual. Like if two of y'all are saying, hey, I want to basically meet with my supervisor, that's still considered individual, and you actually split the cost that way, basically. Um, and now you can actually do supervision virtually as well, so that's good. That's nice. But if you're at a site and that site gives you supervision, then most of the time you'll meet with them anyway. So you kind of set up that time with them. So all of these things are like everything that's about to happen. This transition into licensure world, right? So all these requirements you're going to need to meet are all the things that you'll be responsible for, right? So all the things you'll kind of have to kind of figure out. The good thing is about this website that I was showing you, it's got all the information there that you need to kind of know what you're supposed to be doing and when and if you ever have questions, you can always look at all the rules are actually there on the website as well. And the rules now they're electronic copies of everything, so you can actually go to certain sections that you want to look at. You just have to scroll through everything and kind of find stuff. Like it's really easy now to look at different sections of the rules. Um, so anyway, yeah, everything that you need is right there on that site, and that's just a good place to go if you have any questions. Um, and like I said, I think I said this earlier, it doesn't seem like it's taking a ton of time to get people's associate license right now. Seems to be fairly quick. Now I think that's also depends on the time of year. Like in the spring, a lot of times there's a lot of folks graduating and getting their license in the spring, it seems like, so it might take a little bit longer, but it doesn't seem to be taking quite as long. If you're an LMFT student, everything I just said, you're just going to delay it about 12 weeks. So you're going to go through your own process through the LMFT site, but it looks just like that. And you also have a checklist for LMFTs, and you'll talk about that kind of towards the end of Practicum 3 as well. Okay, any questions about any of those things? Okay, any questions about anything before I transition?
I have a question. Can you, is there a site that has all of the CEUs on, the continuing education units on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to show you one. Let me find it before I show it to you. If you'll just bear with me for a second. That is a good question. I have a friend that showed this to me. Well, that's my cart. There's a couple of different places. I'll put this in the chat. There's a couple of different places you can look. This is called mentalhealthce.com. There are CEUs for psychologists, social workers, counselors, MFTs on here. You can look up by topic. You can look up by number of hour. You can look up by requirement, state requirement. This one's got a bunch of really good ones on. I've taken several from here. You can actually bundle 2 or 3 together and get a little discount for them. This is a really good one to go to, I think. And these are all, like virtual, like kind of go at your own pace kind of stuff. So you can buy it. If you it's like taking a course over, a period of time. But it also gives you like a test or something at the end, and then it'll give you a certificate, like saying, hey, you completed X amount of hours or whatever it is. But it'll tell you how many hours you're doing before you start. So this is a really good one to go to. The other place that a lot of people go to is PESI. I'll go back. Now they've got ads all over this freaking thing now. Used to be real plain. Now they got pop-ups everywhere. So PESI is like one that most people know about. Same thing as the other one. This one's probably a little more, not probably. This one's a little more expensive. They just have a lot more to offer. They have a lot more to choose from here. And then you can also sign up for live trainings as well on here. Like they do live trainings all the time. And then those live trainings are also usually they save them. You can take them later. There's been a run on trauma-informed care on PESI. I'm not sure why. That's a big deal. Something's going on. There's a lot of trauma-informed care. Some of that can get a little bit confusing because it's basically some of the way that they talk about it is a little different. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff on here. Lots and lots of stuff. So this would be another place. The other place that I go to, what is that? Hang on a second, sorry. I gotta go to the right. I'm trying to find I think I have this bookmark somewhere. Sorry, I'm looking for something specific. So this is the Zur Institute. Dr. Zur who started it. Again, same thing as the other two. This has several different courses that you can find and take. These guys were one of the first ones to actually start offering the telehealth credits that you need. This is a long time ago. This is like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. You can. So this is actually a new thing. This little membership deal where you can sign up and get certain things for a discount, basically. This is kind of interesting, doing the memberships, but they don't have quite as much. PESI has the most. PESI's got I don't even know how many courses they have. They got a ton. The other two don't have as many, but you can use them just as much. When you go to a CEU, they'll tell you in the fine print like where it's good for, like which states and all that type stuff. But most of these are good for pretty much every licensure. So these are the kind of top 3 that I go to. I'm sure that there's other things out there. These are just the ones that I always go to off the top of my head. And then, of course, if you go to a conference, any of the conferences that you go to, they always have CEUs. If like there's been years where I've been behind and I just go to a conference and get almost all of them within that 3 days. You can do tons of CEUs when you go to conferences. So those are probably the top ways to get the CEUs.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions?
If we wanted to get certified in a specific area, are those CE hours? Do they specify if that's going to get us certified in something? Like if we take a course over several days, or is it just going to get us the continuing education hours?
We should do both. If you get a cert, you can get certified. You pretty much get certified in any model. You get CEUs for it as well. So
Okay, thank
yeah,
you.
if you go on the look at the rules and regulations for each LPC or LMFT, they'll also tell you which things count for CEUs because other things count too. Like if you do a presentation potentially, or if you teach class, that type of stuff counts too. You'll just have to look kind of what counts. But if you do a certification, just a couple of things to think about if you do a certification. They're all pretty expensive if you get certified in something. That some of them require additional supervision in that field, in that whatever that discipline is, which is also expensive. The upside of it, at the end of it, you're certified in whatever that thing model is or whatever that thing is, and so you can actually say, "Hey, I'm certified in whatever." Now, what does the general public know about that? Nothing. They know zero. If I say I'm certified at EFT or I'm certified at IFS, they have no idea what you're talking about. So you have to say it in a way to them that makes, that they can understand. Does that make sense? Like in our field, if I say I'm certified in IFS, people would probably understand that. Or if I say I'm a DBT certified trainer, we would understand that. Clients have zero. I mean, that is, you're just speaking a different language to them. But if I say, hey, I'm certified in a method of therapy that helps give you tools for suicidal thought and depression and whatever, or trauma treatment, or that makes sense to them. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Good. Any other questions?
Hey, this isn't a question, but it was to go along with the certifications. I am taking an EMDR class, and they explained that while you're an LPC associate, you would be considered EMDR trained. And then
That's right.
they require a certain number of hours in practicing EMDR before you can be certified. And you can do that while you're an associate, but you can't officially be certified in EMDR until you have your actual license.
That's right. That's true for
And
anything. Yeah.
yeah, and they give you a certain number of years or a certain amount of time to
Yeah.
get that done as well. But I didn't know if anybody else had seen anything like that with other certifications, but I thought I would throw that in.
Yeah, that's true for everything. Because you can't technically, if you're not technically licensed, fully licensed, then you can't be fully certified. Because of the time, well, it depends on the training. Because some training you just need to do more hours in that particular discipline. Especially skill-based things like EMDR, especially.
Yeah, I ran into the same thing with a couple of certifications I did. I did a DBT and it was the same. And I did a couple PSI ones and I also ran into the same thing.
Yeah, it should be the same. You gotta have to read the fine print on all those things. Just make sure.
But we could start working on it, correct?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we
You,
can use it. We just need to refer at ourselves as ABC trained as opposed to ABC certified until we have the actual full license.
yeah. You you can you can you just whatever you're doing, just double check and make sure what you can call yourself, because you can't call yourself something that's not true. That's all. You know what I'm saying? You can't advertise unless what you're advertising is actually true. You just have to make sure. And I don't know enough about all of them to know. Because the other thing about some of the models like DBT or IFS or EMDR, they are very protective of their kind of brand. So they don't want people saying, I'm certified in DBT when when you ever taken a class on DBT, right? So that, and plus you don't want, you can't say that to clients anyway, but they're very protective of their brand. That's why these certifications cost so much. Because you're talking about people that have spent years developing this model. They're evidence-based models, so it takes, a tremendous amount of time. Yeah. Kristen, you sent your paperwork.
Yeah, I've been trying to email you and I'm having a
Okay.
hell of a time.
Okay.
So and I know we can talk about this at the end, but I finished my hours. I had so many hours the last time. So I thought I'll just go ahead and email you my paperwork. And I scanned it to your email and I've sent you a couple emails, but like everything keeps kicking back. That did not kick back. So I guess I was just wondering if you got it.
I have no idea. Can you? I really want everybody to put it on Moodle though, because
Oh,
I
okay.
get,
Submit it by
yeah,
Monday. Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It's fine. It's fine. Because
Upload it.
I get so many emails.
Okay,
I
perfect.
just don't want it to get lost, and I don't see yours.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I don't see yours here.
It'll probably say the scan came from a workroom. So it may be,
Okay, that's okay. Yeah,
workroom.
just
But then
if you,
okay, perfect.
yeah,
That'll
just put it on Moodle. It'll just be easier.
okay. And then the other question, and I know you've probably gone over this, so I apologize.
That's okay.
Whenever you said like to submit your hours from practicum 1 and 2 together, is that a separate form or do we just include that on that log?
All of it. Just give me all of it.
Perfect. So what I did is I just took what I had signed from practicum 1 and just put it in there with that.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. Cool.
That's
Thank
perfect.
you.
Yep.
And then last one, I'm sorry. And then
That's okay.
the reflection paper too. So once it's the reflection paper and then the final paperwork, upload everything and we should be good.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yep. And Hannah's asking, yeah, if you guys could upload everything, that's the best. Just upload everything onto Moodle. There's a place for all of those things. If you go on Moodle, I think it's at the bottom actually. Like if you scroll down on the weeks, I think it's week 10. It's either week 9 or 10. I can't remember. Just scroll to the bottom. You'll see a place for all of those to go. Somebody's raising their hand. Ebony.
Yes, it's me. And forgive me if you've already answered this, but we have until, is it the 14th to upload our paperwork?
So I'd love it by the 17th. That'd be awesome. But you technically have until the 22nd.
Okay, I'll have mine in by the 14th. Thanks.
Yep.
So like, I feel like this is a time where it's a bunch of hurry up and wait.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest thing is like you have all these things in your mind, like you want to do the trainings and you want to do this, but it's also like you almost just have to slow down and follow the process.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm getting from this experience of because you're so gung ho and so energetic and ready to go. But like you said, so much has to depend on on that. So
Yeah. All right. That's a good point you're bringing up. This is part of what I was going to talk about next. But let me make sure if you have any questions about any of these things we talked about so far, I want to answer those first. Because I'm about to transition into something totally different. That'll be a lot more fun, too. So, what Kristen is saying is, I think is right. There's a lot of hurry up and wait right now. And I want to talk about a couple of things. The first thing is, everyone right now, if you've done, most everyone here has done pretty much the 300 hours, which means you've done 100 hours or more of direct client contact work at this point. Some of you maybe had worked in other professions where you've worked with people in other settings, so you might have way more than that. The therapy room's a little bit different, clinically speaking. There's some differences there, but you've got maybe 100 hours, 150 hours of direct contact work with clients, with people sitting across from you while you try to apply all the things you've been learning with them. And it's very normal as this is what I want us to think about. There's no one here that's like probably that hadn't had worked in another profession or another job or is transitioning from something else or you've done other things. So you've got experience in whatever those other things were. Right now, you have almost no experience in this. You have very little. But that's fine because you have to start somewhere. So you've got 100 hours, 150 hours. That's awesome. You're going to get 1,500 direct hours. You're going to be, by the time you get your license, we're talking about 1,500 hours of face-to-face work with a client, probably more than that, right? So I've probably got about 10 or 15,000 hours right now, face-to-face working with a client. So these folks that you're taking these trainings from, that's probably the case, right? They've got a tremendous amount of hours they put in, and then they're teaching people how to do whatever these certifications are. The question you need to ask yourself, and this is really up to you, what do I want to get certified in before I get enough experience and confidence in what I'm doing now? Like, what do I need to do to get to where I want to be? Some people jump right into certifications and learn more about models and theories, and that's fine. You can do that. This is the thing. There's nothing else structured around you now. You guys can learn and do whatever you want at whatever pace you want. Here's my suggestion. I would suggest to you to probably whatever you decide. I'm going to use DBT as an example because that's super popular right now. You're going to try DBT with people and you're thinking, I might get certified in this, or I'm at least going to learn more about it. So I'm going to use it. You need to use DBT for 6 or 8 months, at least, before you decide, I don't know if I want to do DBT. You can't use it for a week or two. You can't do it for a month. You need to do it for 6 or 8 months. You need to do it. You need to not be good at it for a little while. You need to be good at it sometimes. You need to go backwards a little bit. That's just how you learn. That's how you grow. Right now, what we are doing because we're all going to be peers, we're not mastering anything. We are practicing. Every day we're practicing. Some days it's great. Yesterday, I had a great day with my clients. I felt great about all of them. 3 weeks ago, I went through a period where I thought, I don't even know why I'm doing this. And I've been doing this a long time. Because we're practicing. We're not perfecting. We're practicing everything. So practice things. If you choose to go a certain direction, that's awesome. Do it. But do it for like a while. Like 6 or 8 months. Do it. And just go all out and try to do it. If you're an LMFT person, I almost need to have a totally separate conversation with you because systems theory is the basis of our whole practice, and that's a very different thing than any other theory. And so if you find, when you look for a supervisor for LMFT, I think it's really important to find a supervisor that is feels comfortable talking about systems theory. Because just to be honest, we don't teach enough of it at Emerson for you to understand it yet. Now you're going to use it, but you don't understand it yet. But that's actually true for anything you do. That's true for CBT, right? CBT's been around forever, decades. You have to just pick something and practice it over and over and over and over. And just do it and do it and do it and do it. And then decide if you like it or not. There's you're going to see a lot of hot topics out there. EMDR is hot right now. A lot of certifications in EMDR going around. That's fine. All of those things are fine. Just make sure that whatever you're doing, you do a lot of it. That's the first thing. The second thing is everyone here is exactly where they're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be at the experience level that you're at, all of you. So just know that everyone is fine. Everyone's doing fine. Everybody's doing great. You're right where you're supposed to be at this level. Okay? You can always get better. You're going to mess up. You're going to do something wrong. You're going to forget something. But you're going to do a ton of stuff right too. And so that's okay. That's just how we learn and how we grow. What I have found over the years, especially the last few years, and this is true for myself too, not just for you. I have found that for some reason, I think it's a lot of our society right now, there seems to be this kind of invasive feeling that we need to be perfect all the time, or we need to try to be perfect. Like if we're not, something's wrong. I mean, there's something about it that's a little bit weird and so anti-therapeutic. And so, sometimes you're going to mess up and that's okay. We can't be perfect. There's no such thing as that. I know that's going to sound weird to people to a certain extent. But trying to be perfect is, the reason why it's hard is because you can't measure it either. Like when's perfect? Like when's enough perfect? Like when's being perfect? Like what's it look like? Right? It's just hard. And this is something that you're going to run into with clients for sure. I think it's just part of our world right now. Here's the last thing, and this is something that I do with all the classes. I've been doing this for about 6 years now. And this is something that I think is important. And I'm going to ask that everybody, if you have something to write on, or you can type this too, you don't have to write, but you can type this too. I'm going to ask you, we're going to do one activity as a group. It's not hard. There's no grade involved, and you can't do it wrong. This is going to be super, super easy, and I find this to be very helpful to people. So what I would like for you to do is first, at the top of the page, or if you're typing or writing, I want you to write down the year that you started this program at Amberton, whatever year that was. And that's going to be different for everybody. And underneath that, and then write, obviously when you're finishing. So I'm assuming for most of you, that means 2025. So from 2022 to 2025, or whatever it is, 2019, or whenever it is, from the start to the finish, you're going to write that at the top. Okay? And then I want you to write, and this is going to be something that you're going to have to think about a little bit. During those years, during that span of years, I want you to write down all the major things in your life that happened. That could be 3 things or 20 things. I don't know. But I want you to write every major thing in that span of years that happened in your life. And I'm going to go off screen for a second. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about this. Because I want this list to be a pretty healthy list. All right. The next thing we're going to think about, and you can write this off to the side or kind of needs to be its own separate thing. And there could be some crossover between these two things, but I want you to write down all the things in that time frame, those years that you accomplished. All the things you actually accomplished, including school, obviously. But I want you to write down all the things you accomplished in that kind of time span. I'll give you a few minutes to think about that. Okay. Now, and I know, neither one of these lists are going to be exhaustive. I'm kind of giving you a set time frame. At the same time, it's really important for all of us, I think, to take a step back and look at where we've been and what we've done and what we've been through and what we've accomplished. This is an activity that I've started doing with all of my clients. And there's a simple formula that I use. This is what I do with it. That first list that I had you write down, like that's the things that you've been through. Some things were good, but some things were bad or hard. The second list is the things you accomplished in that same time frame. And the one way to look at it is, in spite of the first column, I was able to accomplish the second column. Like, even though I went through these things in the first column, I was still able to achieve or accomplish these things in the second column. And when you put those together, that is black and white, like evidence-based thinking. There's no like halfway, right? You either did this or you didn't. And our brain needs that sometimes, because our brain needs to know that everything's okay, number one, and number two, that I'm capable of doing tremendous things in really, really difficult situations. And everyone's list here is going to be different, and everyone's accomplishments are different. But you're all accomplishing finishing this program. And if you started before COVID, you had a massive thing in the middle of this whole thing that was happening. And so you should really feel proud about your list. You should feel proud about what you've done and what you've been able to accomplish. So here's the last thing we're going to do. And this is something that I think is helpful. I'm going to put you guys in groups. We're going to be in groups for about 10 minutes. And if you want to, I'd love for you to kind of share this and talk a little bit about what this was like just to kind of go through this. We did this for about 35 minutes or so. Talk a little bit about that with each other. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to do one more thing and then we will be done. So let me put you guys in groups. So this is your chance to come together. Okay. You should see the join button now. All right. Anybody like to share anything? You don't have to.
We actually thought we had 35 minutes for the exercise, so two of us didn't get to talk.
That's okay.
I'll share in our group. We just kind of learned that I think for the most part, for most of us, we did have some challenges and a lot of major things that happened that were negative, but we were able to like persevere, and still reach our goals and get to the finish line, like despite the challenges.
Yeah.
One thing that I found that I took away with our group was it's amazing how we are able to take this journey, this academic journey, and it seems like adversity just strikes. It seems it strikes as hard as when you're trying to climb uphill, I guess. But to hear how others have made it really takes you away from feeling alone, atypical, that there are others who fight through it and get through it and can say at the end, hey, did it, done. But it has proven to be good medicine in hard times when you need to take that spotlight off of yourself and keep moving forward.
Yeah. Good.
But isn't there the theory that all us counselors are really just trying to figure out ourselves and help people along the way?
That's scary, isn't it?
Like, I mean, I do think there's something to that, we were just talking about integrating your past experience with this experience. Like she said, most of us are coming from some sort of profession or whatever. And I don't know, I feel like this is such an integrated experience. Like you take every piece of your life, your suffering, all of it, because that is a tool to help you deal with other people. Like you see those common themes in humanity. So I don't know. I think this has kind of brought me closer to just humanity. And I think that's what we're lacking in society right now is human connection. And vulnerability and just being real. So I feel that I have benefited as much, if not more than clients through this. I'm learning to take my own advice. Like you can't sit in front of people and do all this and then not apply it to yourself. So I think this has helped me be a better person.
Yeah, good. Good. Anybody else?
We didn't talk about it in the group because we ran out of time, but um, I like the reframing these things so that we can focus on some of our strengths instead of just all of the external things that are not in our locus of control. It's good to focus on the things that we were able to have an influence on.
I think it's okay to be proud of ourselves. It's okay to feel good about yourself. And it's okay to talk to yourself that way. And I think it's okay to acknowledge when you've struggled or not done well or something's been hard, or it's also on the flip side okay to acknowledge when you've done well through those times, or when you've figured something out, or when you've gotten through something you didn't think you could get through, let's say. I think one of the things that can help us for sure, but also the people that we work with, we have plenty of negative thought. Around 70% of our thoughts are negative during the day, roughly, unless we do things to change that. So it's okay to have an equal amount of positive thought too. Like it's okay to have both. And this is a way to do that. And so my challenge for you would be to every once in a while kind of look back and see what the things you've accomplished. Like it's okay to look back and say, here's what I've done. Here's the things I did. Um, and the more you do that, the more you realize um, maybe that's really who you are, and that's okay, and that's a good thing. You're like I said before, everyone here is exactly where you're supposed to be for this spot in your life, and you're going to move forward, and there's people, all of you are going to do great things, and if you think about it, you're going to work with hundreds of people, and that's not pressure, that's opportunity, right? Sometimes it's going to go great, sometimes it's not. Some people are going to love you, some people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. That's why we need a lot of us, because not everybody fits with everyone. The point is that you have opportunity to go and affect people's lives for the better, not because of, you know, magic. It's not magic, it's just work. You work with people, and um, some days are hard, but most of the time it's very rewarding. And so this is something I tell every class at the end. You know, if you have questions, you can always email me. I answer emails from former students all the time. I actually just did a referral for someone doing a PhD program. You know, if anybody has questions about things, I mean, hopefully you've made some connections here with each other. I mean, it's very important that we have kind of a community of people. That's really, really helpful for us, I think. And so, um, I think, I think Everyone here is going to do awesome things. You just don't always know it at the time. That's why sometimes we got to look back on it and then go, oh my gosh, look what I just did. Sometimes we just can't see it, in the moment. It's easier when we look back sometimes. So now you can go and be free and frolic and not worry about anything for a day. And then you can start worrying again. So, like I said, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask or email me, or you can email. Uh, um, I'll get all, like I said, with all the grades and everything, I'll get all that done by the 23rd. That'll all be turned in. Um, if you run into issues, this is the only other thing I was going to say. If you run into issues with like supervision evaluations or something, let me know, because I know that sometimes gets tricky at the end. But other than that, I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend, and a great summer. And maybe I'll see some of you at graduation. I have no idea. I never know who's going to show up. So um, if you're there, I'll see you on the 22nd. So bye, everyone.
Congratulations, graduates. Good job.